Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the founder of an amazing nonprofit that has helped giving children access to fresh produce. Her incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, of course, Dallas-Fort Worth is one of the most affluent communities in the whole nation, and people don't think about food deserts here. They don't think about lack of access to fresh produce. But one person who certainly does is my next guest, Chonnie Richey. She's the founder of Independence Gardens. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I think a lot of people would be shocked to hear that there are still food deserts in Dallas.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
We are such a blessed city in the beginning. So I was on EarthX 2024 a few weeks ago, and I talked about this. 1 in 8 children in Dallas-Fort Worth live in food insecure household and do not have access to fresh food.
And tell us about Independence Gardens.
Independence Gardens started in 2013, and our overall mission is to provide children in schools and communities access to fresh food. It's simple as that.
Absolutely. And of course, we're ending a school year, which means many children are not even getting a meal right now.
They're not, and we're very fortunate to partner with local organizations, and in this case, the City of Louisville, who is actually going to take our Hydro Tower garden, which is our Beanstalk project, and we'll make it available to the children in Louisville for the summer, and that is the newest initiative we have at Independence Gardens. Outstanding.
She's an amazing communicator, and we found a wonderful speech that you gave. Let's roll a clip from that.
First of all, Christine, thank you so much for having me here today. And I'm here following all these amazing speakers. So it's all about stories today, right? Such amazing stories. And stories are a powerful thing because they can make you laugh, they can make you cry, they can spark revolutions, and they can speak to your very soul. We are all in this room because at some point in our lives, we have either been part of a story or have heard a story that had such a profound impact. It spoke to our inner superhero and prompted us to act and move the universe. 3 stories, all interconnected, all showcasing how consciously living the power of one can be life-changing. My first story starts with a simple school lunch. Show of hands, who here remembers their elementary school lunch? See, me too. I like to use this slide only because this is kind of how I remember it, right? The pizza that was sort of greasy, the hamburger that looked like a hamburger, tasted like a hamburger, but rumor has it was not, and chocolate milk that you can chug down. In 2011, my daughter Sophia started kindergarten. And one of the things I was looking forward to was having lunch with her, because that's what every mom's do. So one day we did just that. And I remember this day because I walked into the office and they said, Mrs. Richey, what did you bring Sophia for lunch today? Now, granted, I have been thinking about this hamburger all week. So I was gonna have that cafeteria food. So I said, I'm gonna have that cafeteria food. And if I could just describe the color of this woman's face when I said that, I don't think I could have gotten the trash can quick enough for her to do what I think she was gonna do. So we were going down the line, and she's getting her green beans and her nuggets and of course her chocolate milk, and we sit down. So I watch her. She kind of swirls around her green beans, take a bite out of her chicken nugget, and of course chugs down her chocolate milk. So after lunch I said, so what did you think? She said, Mama, green beans had no flavor. And the nuggets were meh, but I really loved the chocolate milk, of course. And this was kind of the same thing I noticed out of the kids around me. About 50% of the food that they had in their tray went in the trash. A few things went through my mind after that lunch. First and foremost, as a chef, if I've never seen green beans that color, okay? And as a chef, there's some chefs here, they kind of know what I'm talking about. And second, if one of my customers had said to me, Chonnie, the food had no flavor, and it was kind of meh, I would not have served that food. I think more important, as a mom, I couldn't believe that they were serving her food that would fuel her day, put her in the path of academic success, yet they clearly warned me to stay away from it. Okay? So that's a couple of things. So after that lunch, I did a couple of research and saw some data when it came to access to fresh food, nutrition education, and its overall effect on health. Here's what I found. Really quickly, we'll just go over it. 1 in 3 children in Texas is obese. Millions of food in the trash, and out of that, 60% are vegetables and 40% are fruit. Now, with all the food wasted, we hear stories all the time of what is called food deserts, and this is going to become really critical later. 23.5 million people live in what is called food deserts. If you don't know what that is, food deserts are communities where access to fresh food is either lacking or non-existent. In Dallas alone, we have 40 communities considered food deserts in Dallas.
Is it getting any better?
I think COVID didn't help it. So we learned a lot of lessons from COVID, and what that is first of all, the value of being outside, right? There's a value of being outside, which is kind of our outdoor learning spaces, our all outdoors. But at the same time, especially with the changes in the policies for the USDA, it's really getting harder and harder to feed our children the right balance of food and still have them love it, because they have to eat it, right? And so we can put in and make all of these great recipes and menu items in cafeteria. And by the way, what a lot of people don't know, our children get mostly, maybe 70% of their meals at schools. So if they're not eating that food and they're throwing it away and they go home and there's no food there, they're going hungry. So it's very difficult for us as a society to say we're putting our children on the path of success when we can't even get the right amount of food in their hands when they absolutely need it the most.
Absolutely. We're going to pull up your website. You have a beautiful website, and as we scroll down the website, talk about how people engage you. Do you work with the schools, or how are you getting the fresh produce to the kids?
So we are, our program is built on the premise of schools and communities. And the reason that we do that is because schools are the heart of communities. If our program is in every one of the 64,000 elementary schools in the country, there is no reason a child should ever go hungry. And we actively engage with schools to make that happen. Our programs are specifically in elementary schools. It's either their outdoor learning spaces, our new hydroponic towers that we're just putting in, and our signature program, Come and Eat It, where we have local chefs come in and actively cook. They're not watching, they're actively cooking with these chefs. And it is, our program, I like to say, doesn't cost the schools anything. They just have to want it, right? And so, and the wanting is kind of the harder part of it.
Of course, and you have a huge event coming up. We're going to put up the page off of the Eventbrite, and I want you to talk about this.
So Wine, Dine, and the Fine Line is an active collaboration with an organization called MAP. MAP is the nonprofit arm of the film, The Fine Line, and it is a film by Joanna James. And it looks at the journey of female executive chefs and how difficult it is to even get an executive chef role job in the industry. MAP stands for Mentorship, Advocacy, Purpose, and Power of Community. And why we're partnering with them is part of our Partners to Purpose program, where we actively partner and collaborate with local nonprofit organizations because we can, together we can reach more. Collectively, we could do it so much better. And they just happen to be one of the organizations that we wanted to bring in. We brought them in 5 years ago with Cat Cora, We're going to get them down here in their 5-year anniversary. And the film, it's the same format as we did 5 years ago. There's going to be a VIP reception on the front end of it where we have Chef A.Q. Pittman, who is a semifinalist for the James Beard Award. She was also the best female chef in 2018 by Eater. We have Chef Molly Guerra, who was in Chopped in the Food Network. We have Elizabeth Anderson. We have Alicia Rivera and Chef Joe Garcia, and I can't forget Chef Uno Manavong, who is an amazing chef at Red Sticks. And what I'm really excited about this event is we're also featuring up-and-coming chefs, and we have Chef Natalie Quintanilla, who is a current student at Dallas College Culinary Program, who will be at the event itself and really speaking to her journey as this culinary student and what she's looking forward to in her future.
And there's a movie.
There is. So the film is about Joanna James's mom, who is a restaurateur, and it actually covers the journey of Dominic Seren as well and Kat Cora and what they had to go through to the industry to actually get to where they are now. Mm-hmm. Why we're partnering with them is because both organization is transforming the landscape of communities. Independence Gardens is providing food access to children. MAP is transforming how women approach culinary and be in a leadership role through mentorship and advocacy and community and purpose.
And you made a comment right before the show that really hit my ear. A woman's place is in the kitchen. Will you explain?
So I say that because I like to say the kitchen is the heart of the home, right? And so we've heard a lot about a woman's space. And my thing is a woman's place and heart is in the kitchen. And she is, and the individual is, what I like to kind of say is when women lead, the world thrives. And the kitchen itself is where we actively feed our children. It's when we actively show them how to put fresh food in their bodies and really be the heart of communities and families. And I think that when we can have female chefs that lead in the kitchen, whether it's commercial, whether it's at home, we're really putting ourselves in a great position to be successful in everything that we do.
You're also very popular with the media. We found a wonderful article in Voyage Dallas. Let's go ahead and pull up that headline. I want to ask you, so many people see a problem and then they say to themselves, well, somebody ought to do something about that. But not everybody actually does it themselves. Mm-hmm. Why did God put this on your heart, and why could you not unsee it?
I think it's courage, and I think it's path, and I'm a firm believer that God put us here to do better, to be better, to make more impact, right? And you cannot make an impact in a world if you're afraid. And so I like to kind of say that every time somebody introduces me, I never say no to anything. I do say no to the fact that there should never be an issue that kids can have access to. That's a hard no for me. There should never be an industry where women cannot get ahead. That's a hard no for me too. But I will say yes to everything if it means that we're transforming the lives of children, if we're transforming the lives of individuals. So I think my daughter made me a picture at Jeremiah 29:11. I'm not sure if you know that phrase, and I've always been on this path, and I don't know why. I started with the American Heart Association, and I actually also lead a local pediatric organization where I've seen the impact of obesity and fresh food, and it always leads to children. It always leads to ensuring children has access to fresh food. Let's get them healthy. Because if I may be feeding the future CEO of a Pepsi or the future president of the United States, but if we can't get our children the right amount of food, we can't put them in the right path of success.
Wow. Well, I love your eyes. If you can see a close-up of her eyes right now. The eyes are the window to the soul, and this is really burning on your soul right now. So in the final minute or so, I want you to look into the camera on the left and make a plea for people to come alongside you, get involved at this event, or become a sponsor.
Yeah, so Independence Gardens is a national program, and we are here to not only serve your children, but ensure that every child has access to fresh food regardless of where they live. So whether if they live in Dallas or Oak Cliff or Highland Park or New York, we are here to ensure every child has access to fresh food and should never wonder where their food comes from. And if we could just get our program in schools and communities, then they are the heart of neighborhoods, and we are able to feed everyone from the children to the families as well.
Oh, an amazing way to end this segment. I truly thank you for blessing us with your heart and your wisdom. We're going to end with the website, which is, of course, independencegardens.org. The great Chonnie Richey. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.